Thanks so much for subscribing to the email list and access to this cool exclusive content. You guys have been asking about it, and thanks for keeping on me to get that done. Complete user error on my part. For some reason, the video cuts my face in half. I don't know why. I know how to fix it for next time. So sorry about that. Rich comes in loud and clear, and you're not there to see me anyway. So there you go. So thanks again for subscribing, and also thanks for what you guys do. Those of you out there doing the stumping for the Imagination Movers, bringing some awesome content for my kids and your kids and everybody else that benefits from that content. So kudos to you guys for that. Here it is. Enjoy the video. Hey everybody, welcome to the Flash Kaboom Inspirational Podcast. And, well, you know, we like to fill your mind with words that fill you up. That is our thing here, so we're excited about that. And I've talked to you guys before on the podcast about, stretching yourself. You don't grow unless you challenge yourself, unless you do different things. And so if I'm going to practice what I preach, I decided a couple of months ago I need to go down the road of maybe doing some interviews, branching out, because quite frankly, you're going to get tired of hearing me yap the whole time. And so, I've made a little top 10 list for me of people I'd like to interview. And on that list, at the top of the list, is Ellen DeGeneres. I think she's cool. She does a lot of things that fill people up. And then I just made a list of people across all kinds of different fields and genres from all over the world. And guys, on that list was someone that's meant a lot to us as a family, and that is the Imagination Movers. And so my son, he's 9, and he was born in '07, which is about the time that these guys, the Imagination Movers, kind of hit it big. And I am delighted to welcome to the show one of the movers, Rich Collins, or AKA Mover Rich. Hey, Rich, thanks for joining us.
Hello, and how y'all doing?
Hey, so I love, as a musician myself, man, I love the sort of artistic process and how people get to where they are and studying that and emulating things when we can. So I'm awesome that you're here and we can talk to you about some of that and about the movers. Hey, you guys have an amazing fan base out there.
We do. We're really fortunate, to have a dedicated group of people that sustain us when, in times good and bad, And so we know that we can go out and play shows in various parts of the country, and there's going to be certain friendly and familiar faces there to be there to rock with us. It's a good situation to be in, and we're very appreciative.
Well, like a true indie group, you need that grassroots effort out there, and there's some people out there really stumping for you guys, which is how you and I got connected. So kudos to those groups of people out there that are really working for you guys.
Yeah, we do. We have several street teamers who are essentially like PR and marketing whizzes, especially in the new social media era. And so, yeah, they've been indispensable, and we really appreciate it. I'm guessing I know who it was that connected us.
I think her name is Emily, right?
Yeah, Emily Yoakum.
Yeah.
She's our Kentucky bureau chief. She does wonders. She's very, very smart and really very capable. So thank you, Emily.
And I'll have to ask her sometime how she figured out that I do podcasts and that we somehow like the movers, but she connected it somehow, and here we are.
She just saw it somehow.
That's right. So, like any good story, we start in the beginning. So you grew up in Maryland, the Washington, D.C. area. And talk about growing up and how music maybe first came to you in Maryland.
Well, I'll paint a picture of me as a teenager. I come home from school, and I had a 4-track recorder, a Tascam 4-track recorder, which is an old it was a $500 machine that was my dream machine as a kid. And I finally got it one Christmas. But you take an old cassette tape, you pop it in this thing, and it could divide that tape into 4 tracks. And so you could, you could basically have your own little mini recording studio. But every time you needed to go beyond the 4 tracks, you would, you'd lose signal quality. So it got pretty crushed pretty fast. But that would be me in the afternoons, making songs, re-recording, songs I'd heard on the radio. It was always what I was interested in doing. So I would do that. I played drums and guitar in the school band and in my bands, and that was really just where my imagination was 24 hours a day, really.
We have a lot in common that way. I often neglected English class for playing on this really crappy organ we had in my mom's house. But that's how I learned, man. So yeah.
You're a keyboard guy.
Yeah, well, I was a woodwind guy, actually. I went to the University of Maryland and played clarinet and saxophone and did some doubling there. And now I write. Mostly I write music and orchestral stuff and trying to get into film scoring, which is interesting and all that. So,
Yeah.
but this isn't about me. This is about you. But thanks for asking. But now, but you have to have keyboard skills to be able to write. So yeah, that's where I focus now.
But I've noticed in the industry, it's like there's keyboard people and guitar people, basically, as far as in the world of composing and everything else. And I'm squarely in the guitar person world. It's funny. There's a gorgeous, my wife's baby grand piano was about 8 feet to my right, and all my kids learn on it and play on it every day. It's shocking how little I play the piano. So it's there's still time. There's still time.
There's still time. There's always time. Stretch yourself, just like we encourage our listeners.
I need to. I really do.
So, did you play another instrument? Like, because usually when you start in elementary school, it's a woodwind instrument or percussion. Or
You're absolutely right. I started in 4th grade on the clarinet.
Hey, just like me. God bless our parents for listening to that stuff.
Yeah, right. And it's funny because I was up in D.C. It's way before I lived in New Orleans, but for some reason, as a little kid, I liked Pete Fountain, the clarinetist from New Orleans. And so that's why I picked clarinet that day, you know, when they ask you in your little Catholic school what instrument you want. But by 7th grade, I had the rock and roll fever had taken over, and I ditched the clarinet for drums and in the school band, and I never looked back. It kind of changed my life, really.
Who were you listening to then that got you into that sort of rock music?
Well, my favorite, I mean, when I was a little boy learning to play drums, I remember the first record I played to was Back in Black by AC/DC. And I remember my sister's cool rocker boyfriend came over one day, and I could tell he was genuinely impressed with my version of Back in Black, and I remember that like built some confidence. But you know, the drummer that, like, when I was a young guy in that 80s time, it was Stuart Copeland was by far my drum idol and everything and every other thing. The Police and that whole kind of reggae rock Caribbean that hit me squarely between the eyes.
It's funny how you say Caribbean. I got a question way down the road in the interview about that. I can hear that. It's definitely in the Rich Collins stuff for sure. So at some point you decide to move to New Orleans. When did that happen, and why did that happen?
So I went to college in D.C., graduated in 91, and I had met a lovely young woman there who would become my wife. She just happened to be from New Orleans, Louisiana, and so basically when we graduated, we ended up back down in New Orleans right after, and yeah, so I've been there a quarter century. I've been here for a quarter century.
Well, I grew up in Maryland too, and we moved to North Carolina in 2010. And I say this all the time. People say, "Do you miss it?" I said, "There's people there I miss, and it's a nice place to visit." But I like it where I am, and I'm sure New Orleans is a great place too. I've been there a few times. Awesome.
It's idiosyncratic for sure. There's plenty of good and bad, but the one thing that I think that I don't think I could ever I don't think I could function in a big East Coast city anymore with the traffic and just the scale of it all. I mean, I live essentially in a small town, you know, and so like when we were just up in movers were on the East Coast all the time, and that's fun for me getting to work. But like just like a daily commute or so, that was terrible.
No. My wife, when we lived before we moved just outside of Baltimore, closer to Baltimore than DC, and she drove 55 minutes to work one way on a good day.
Yeah.
No.
You are in Howard County. Where were you?
We were in Harford County.
Okay.
Just right off of 95 there past Baltimore. So, but so you get down to New Orleans, man, and I guess you're playing in bands there. You're doing things, and then somehow you meet some guys named Scott, Dave, and Smitty. How does that happen?
Truthfully, so those guys I all met immediately upon moving to New Orleans. They were all part of the larger friend group that I connected to once, you know, when I came down with Becky. My wife, she knows she's a very gregarious person, has lots of friends. And so those guys were all part of that community, all their wives and our wives, my wife, they were all just buddies. So we palled around for a decade before we did anything mover related. We were already, and some of those guys had known each other since they were little kids. And so, yeah, it was just a group of friends, really, for a long time.
So I guess it's Becky that can take credit for the movers.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for putting us all together. Absolutely.
Right. And then, so you guys met, you were friends for a long time. And where's the genesis, the idea? Where does it start?
A conversation at Mover Scott's son's second birthday where we were talking about Wiggles and kids content and what was going on TV, because we were all learning about this as young dads, and we just said, what this world needs? It needs somebody to combine Mr. Rogers with the Beastie Boys.
Nice.
That was the conversation, and it was that conversation in 2002 that led to a follow-up. Have a couple beers at someone's house at 9:00 on a Tuesday night. And, the scratching on the scribbles on the napkin began, and the genesis of the Imagination Movers theme song occurred, and just it all that. It really that was it. That was the moment.
So wait a minute. People on Disney shows drink beer?
Yeah.
Right.
Not all of them, but we certainly do. We would call it idea juice, though.
What'd you call it?
By the way, I'm in no way endorsing abusing alcohol, but we used to joke, we have a couple beers, that was idea juice.
Idea juice, yeah, right?
But no, we were just typical dads having a beer or two after the kids went to bed.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start using that with my wife. I need some idea juice, honey. Stop at the store, get some idea juice. Right. So you guys, you have the idea, you got the napkins, you got the theme song working, and you guys actually started the group, correct, in about 2003?
Yeah. Really. By 2003, Scott and I had gone to a uniform shop and bought those blue jumpsuit, the coveralls, and we were performing as Imagination Movers. We'd written several of the songs. I basically bought a little tiny, iMac recording studio, Pro Tools rig, in my house. Every way we acted as an indie band, recorded this music, and were functioning around town as like this. Hey, this funny new thing that you could hire for your festival or for your party or whatever.
And what were some of the early songs that we may know that ended up on the TV show that you guys did early on?
Well, the very first song is Everybody Shout, what's the big idea? Hey,
what's the big idea?
That's it. That was the very first thing. I think around that same moment was my favorite snacks are the ones that I help pick out. So my favorite snack was right then too. What happened was we decided to workshop. We were going to workshop an episode about healthy eating. And so we'd written my favorite snack. We wrote another one called the Snack and ABCs. Whatever. There was a bunch of food. I'd eat it anyway. There's a bunch of food-related songs that we wrote, and they all ended up on that first indie album we did called Good Ideas. And so, and the other song from that early days that became kind of a staple was I want my mommy, I need my daddy, but I'm stuck here in my bed at night. And I got my pillow and I got my blanket. And I know that everything's gonna be all right. So I Want My Mommy was the other one from back in the day.
And
there's been 200 since. So
what is the Warehouse Mouse? Is that a Disney creation or is that something you guys brought with you?
Warehouse Mouse is our creation. The way he looks is a Disney creation. We have an early version of Warehouse Mouse that. We dreamed up. Mover Dave made the puppet, and he looked more like a kind of a scruffy rat. And then he got a different, he got a makeover for the show for Disney. But yeah, Knit Knots, Mouse, those are all stuff that we had originally dreamed up way back in the beginning.
Was TV ever on your radar, or when did that?
Yeah, that was that's the funny thing. We dreamed up the idea for a TV show from the first conversation, and then within the first week or two, we had Knit Knots, we had Mouse. We had, it took us a little while to get the whole idea of the Idea Warehouse and the infinite rooms and all that stuff. But the whole thing was just our brainstorm. but then of course, how do you, and you know, it takes a little, it's not something you can immediately just go and create a television show. So what we were able to do was write the music, and I was able to record the music very cheaply. And so we did that, and that was kind of our the first album, the second album, and then we made our first CD DVD. That was really the two things that we did that were quite entrepreneurial and that really pushed us forward. Were I promoted a show at the UNO Lakefront Arena, like a giant multiple thousand person arena here in New Orleans. This is about 2 years into our like kind of indie boom here in New Orleans. We said we need a concert DVD, and so we promoted this show. We got about 1,000 people to pay for a ticket and show up, film this concert. We got a filmmaker friend named Francis James, to make us for a good deal. He made a concert DVD and a bunch of music videos. The whole thing was called Stir It Up. Very shoestring, but a lot of charm, and a lot of love went into it. And that DVD was what got put in the hand of the brilliant and insightful Nancy Cantor at the Disney Channel, and that made her say, let me go see who these guys are. And so that making that DVD and spending the money to do it, along with us spending a bunch of money to go up to an event called Toy Fair in New York City, which is this like industry event every year for the toy industry, and really for anybody who's trying to license content for kids entertainment. We took a loan out and went up there and just sang and danced for everybody who walked through the front door. Those two things I think were kind of essential in getting things moving, beyond New Orleans.
This was the music in the DVD that got you in front of Disney. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, there was a man named Jonathan McHugh who had New Orleans connections. He was a exec at Jive Records at that time, and a friend of a friend here in New Orleans gave our stuff to Jonathan. Jonathan was the one who got it into the hands of Nancy at Disney. And then when Nancy and a man named David Agnew, who ran Walt Disney Records, came to see us at Jazz Fest in 2005, that's when that whole relationship took off. And we had some other stuff already brewing. We had another record contract to sign, ready to go when they checked in. And so it got complicated and interesting there for a few minutes.
Because up until Disney, you guys were complete indie. You're doing it all yourself, right?
Well, we've been building the buzz on our own, and then courting everyone we could think of, from Nick to PBS to Disney. And we'd actually had formed a pretty strong relationship with the Louisiana Public Broadcasting in our state, and had worked on content with them. Had a bunch of different projects with them going on, and so it was very interesting. We had PBS, Disney. And then another company called Razor and Tie, which does Kids Bop. There was all these things sort of happening at the same time. We had to sort it out. And it was good. It was good problems to have.
Good problems. So there's this reach high, think big, work hard, have fun thing that isn't just something you sing about. It's something you guys have done since the beginning. Yeah,
we always just dream big, and but then you can't stop there. Obviously, I mean, the thing that what we try and communicate to our kids always is, you have to have a big dream, and you have to do all the tiny, boring, little detail work things all the time. You got to do to try and get to those bigger moments. Mickey just kind of collapsed there.
He's trying to get closer. He wants to come back to the movers, maybe. I don't know.
But anyway, it's a combination of dreaming big and then following through.
What I love about how you guys got there and what you're talking about is something that I did some business coaching before and had my own businesses. And one of the things that people don't understand about music is they think creativity is like this whim, or like inspired by some beautiful moving picture. And then we can write this music. And really creativity, everybody in the world, I'm preaching to the choir here in front of me, but is that creativity is a habit, and it's hard work, and getting your music heard is not easy. Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, for sure. And there's so many triumphs and failures at every scale possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've had like these awesome successes of where we won an Emmy Award for one of our songs, and we've gotten to play at the White House twice and tour Europe and Asia, and perform live on Good Morning America and Regis and The View and all these awesome moments. But the funny thing is, there were so many little bits of work and little things you did to get to all these different moments that it's never like winning a lottery feeling. Like, whoa, look at this. It's more like it all feels a little bit more natural because you're just in the midst of a process, you know. And there's also the ebb and flow. So, we've had, all throughout from the beginning till now, you get these great moments, and then you get moments where like, oh gosh, we got to go out and scramble to make something else happen. We've been working really hard for the last couple years to develop our animated show called Super Movers. And, we were actually there. It just got pitched to another broadcaster this past week. And so we're very hopeful for that. But, again, we're back in the trenches trying to get another idea off the ground. So it never really stops.
It's been
look at Apple or whatever. Apple's stock was down yesterday. Apple, the biggest company in the world, but they don't come up with new ideas. And if they keep coming up with things like the Apple Watch, then it'll just, you always got to keep trying.
Well, it's been said many times, it's easy to get to the top. I'm sorry, it's hard to get to the top. It's way harder to stay there.
Yes.
Way harder to stay there because then expectations are there and all kinds of things. So if there's ever a perfect metaphor for life is this idea warehouse thing you guys came up with. So you guys are trucking along, and then 2005, what happens in August 2005 in the state of Louisiana?
Yeah, exactly. So right after all of our, in the middle of all that Disney paperwork and the other people, and the Hurricane Katrina came, flooded New Orleans, flooded most of our houses, flooded our workshop, killed, my studio, all our instruments. So that was a bit of a left turn there for a minute, but in a lot of ways, the storm galvanized everyone's attention on New Orleans. It may have even helped as far as it cleared away a lot of distractions in our lives. Suddenly, everyone in New Orleans, their lives were interrupted. You didn't have your routine, and so it made it a little bit easier to kind of rebuild our life with Movers even more at the center. So it's funny. It was a terrible situation, but there were some silver linings for us as far as how we were able to put things back together after.
Yeah, and everybody lost their house except for Smitty. Is that right? You guys had to rebuild?
Smitty was in a different area. He was dry.
Yeah. Well, maybe a little divine intervention. The guy who's the first responder, firefighter, got to keep his house. He probably needed it.
Yeah, exactly. He was here, though. We all left. He didn't get to leave. He was here and wading through the water the whole time. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome that there's people like that in the world that do stuff like that. Where everybody else is running out of burning buildings and floods, they're going towards it. So
yeah, he wrote a really great song called "We Got Each Other" about the evacuation. It was really nice. He kind of wrote it for us, all the guys who were running around with their kids. So yeah,
nice.
That was a good moment for him.
So we have a lemonade out of lemon kind of thing with Katrina. You guys get back at it. You rebuild studios, get your instruments back. You've made the DVD, the music. You pitched Disney. So what's the phone call like? Hey, we'd like to make a TV show. When does this happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. So the conversation that we'd already had the first contract with Disney, So the creatives and the execs at Disney are all awesome, and then the lawyers are all terrifying because they're there to try and protect all the bottom line. And so we had some management at that point, and so our management and their lawyers were all blah 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 fighting, and but it was funny when the storm happened. It kind of, in a sense, made everybody on all sides be like, look, let's get this done. These guys are. Like, I remember I was on the phone in the car with the kids in the back of the car and the cat as we're trying to find a hotel to stay in. And I'm also talking to our manager and my friend at Disney, just trying to get this thing done. And, it was just definitely a crazy time. But the net result is that we agreed to terms with them to sign a record deal and a TV production deal. We got to work with some of their creatives to take our idea, finish it, and get it ready. We by 2007, took a little while to get all this done. 2007, we are in front of the camera shooting the pilot here in Louisiana. That might be, it was '06. Anyway, but the pilot happened. Then we went into production. The pilot got approved. We went into production for the show. And by 2008, even with some horrible writer's strike that happened and interrupted everything.
I forgot about that. Right.
We had the writer's strike. But by fall of 2008, the show was on the air. And we were actually going to have this wonderful premiere party here in New Orleans at the Britannia Theater. And then we had another hurricane come through. We had to postpone. We had to cancel the party. But regardless, the show went on the air 2008, and we had very good ratings and good reaction all over the world.
It became certainly a staple in our house. One of the great things about it, and me being a musician, I often tell people ask me, do I like this music or that music, because they know of my background. And I say, look, I am the worst person to ask because I'm so daggone critical because I know too daggone much. So,
right.
And it really makes me sort of pick things apart in a way that most people don't. And
right.
it takes some of the joy out of it sometimes when you're that discerning.
Right.
But the one thing that caught me, because you talked about some of the other things that were on TV when you guys started talking, right? You were talking about the Teletubbies and Wiggles and what else was going on. And that stuff is painful for me.
Right.
I couldn't watch that with my kids. I could watch what you guys were doing with our kids. So that, just being able to sit with your child, enjoy a television program, bond with them in that way was great. The other thing, in the moment, and this is my most memorable imagination mover television moment.
Right.
And that was, when Scott is about to rap, he kind of does this head bob thing and he leans into the camera a little bit. And he started saying, the rooster, and I lost it. So
nice.
The homage and references that you guys bring into your music, Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, whatever you guys have, is fantastic.
What's funny you mentioned that, just see a little background. So the roosters are tired is obviously a reference to the roof is on fire,
right.
Et cetera, profane lyrics that I can't say.
Right.
But we had recorded that song on one of our own albums, and then Disney bought the catalog, and then when we went to use that song on the show, their lawyers got involved, and we had to go track down. There was like 5 guys or 4 guys that were credited as the co-writers of that original classic hip hop song, and we had to find them. Like 2 of them were like living in Denmark or something. We had to find their representatives, and we had to give them a third of that song. So they own these cool like hip hop dudes own 1/3 of the song "Farm" by Imagination Movers because we do the roosters are tired instead of the roof is on fire.
But what's interesting about that is, and this is going to bore most people, but you might get this, is licensing. When you do a parody of something, you shouldn't have to pay any licensing fees.
We should. We knew it. We also said, could there be any better publicity on earth than a hip hop act coming and trying to sue the kids band? We totally disagreed with this, but then it was one of those things. If you picture the millions of things going on at that moment, we're like, you guys do what you want to do.
That's right.
But yeah, so it's kind of cool now that we're co-writer. I've got a co-write with a hip hop legend.
Imagination Movers and the Thug Life are married. That's great.
Anyway, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It was satirical, and none of us thought that should have happened. But fair enough.
And sometimes it just costs less just to take a third. We got other projects we're working on.
All right, exactly.
Gotcha. All right, so we of course, our family, as most people, learned about you for the first time on a national level through the television show, and then you guys are touring under the Disney umbrella. Was that right? You were under the Disney umbrella?
I mean, sort of, kind of. Our tour. Yeah. Believe me, we will. As soon as we were a Disney affiliated act, we will use the word, Disney's Imagination Movers to sell tickets and to help, make us, to help build the brand. But really, one thing we actually fought for in our contract was we basically owned our touring. We always have. We did do one of our big tours we did. Was a thing where we basically we worked a deal where Disney was kind of running that show and we were hired on, but that was just one time. But essentially, the way we toured from 2002 through my shows coming up next weekend on the East Coast, it's always been the same. We book it. We have our own booking agent. Yeah. So, but no, obviously the reason we're able to sell tickets is because the show has reached so many people.
Right. Sure. The You guys seem to tour a lot on the East Coast. Is that where your largest fan base, or that's where the opportunities are?
It seems like for us, for sure, and I think for a lot of acts, the East Coast is the most fertile ground for sure. And also Canada has been very, very good to us.
Good.
Canada, all the way from Newfoundland all the way over to the West Coast. But for whatever reason, the West Coast, I love it over there. But we don't. Things are further apart. It's more expensive to go there because stop to stop, you have to go a lot further. And so it just seems like the East Coast has got a lot of concentration of ticket buyers, and it's just more practical.
Gotcha. Cool. And yeah, right, it's cheaper to get there and get back and all that, and get your stuff.
And then you can get to like last weekend I played in Hartford, Connecticut, and 2 different stops in New Jersey, and one was really Philly. So it's like, everything's like within a couple hours.
Right. And so when you guys usually go out on a weekend, you're trying to do as many shows as you can, get the most bang for your buck, right?
Ideally now we go out and do like a weekend, do 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's the best.
Right.
Or Saturday, Sunday, it depends.
And you guys have been all over the world, though, right? You've toured in Asia and Europe, right?
We have. We sure have. One of our funnest series of shows, we did some London shows about 2 years ago that Mover Scott booked. We it was a thing because we performed over there like for U.S. Families and U.S. military bases, but we never played like a show at a theater in London before until about, that must have been like 13. When we went over there, people were coming from everywhere, people all over the UK and then beyond. It was like a hub, and people came in. It was so fun.
That's awesome.
But then we also did a similar thing. We got a promoter brought us to Dubai, the United Arab Emirates.
Whoa.
Played a big theater there, and it was so cool because, first of all, in the United Arab Emirates, there are people from all over the world, from South Africa to Scotland and everywhere in between. People were all working there. So there was lots of international families there. But then also, like, we had people flying in from Iraq, all these families coming in. Movers was pretty big in Iraq. And so we had like these awesome kids who were meeting, could not have been more interesting. Really, really fun show.
It's funny how overseas stuff works sometimes. I heard Billy Joel say one time that for some reason his song Honesty, which did okay here, in France it was like gold. They just wanted him to come there and sing that song for days. Yeah. But it's just weird. Europe likes David Hasselhoff's music, so you just never know. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being like huge in Sweden or whatever. I'll take it, number one hit.
Yeah.
We do well in Argentina. We've never gone down to South America to play. We really want to because we just have a lot of love from that part of the world. So, and you hear about like metal bands and stuff that go down to Argentina, and they might play a club here and they'll play a football stadium down there,
Yeah.
We'd love to do that.
You guys would probably kill it down there.
I hope so.
Yeah, man. So was it 3 seasons with Disney and then the show ended?
75 episodes. Yes, sir.
75 episodes. And, to last 1 episode or even to get your pilot accepted for any network anywhere is an achievement. To get 3 seasons is an amazing accomplishment with Emmys and the whole thing, like you mentioned. But, when the show ended, you had fans shouting from the rooftops, "Blasphemy, Disney! Why would you do this to us?" What people don't realize that Disney, if you're not a rodent named Mickey, it's hard to last more than 3 seasons there. So how and why did that end? What would you like to tell your fans why and how it ended?
Yeah, I think for us, the way I choose to think about it is that, once you get 75, theoretically you can take those and every couple of years they can start the whole rebroadcast it and reach a whole new group of people. So I'm hoping that, that those 75 will reach a lot of people in a lot of ways in the future. Not the least of which, crossing our fingers, and also I send regular emails badgering to have them get it streaming, so on Netflix or Hulu. I mean, we really, obviously, that would be a nice boost for us. So in addition to hopefully having Super Movers go into production, we hope that all of our Imagination Movers episodes are streamable and available. And meantime, you can get everything on iTunes. So. And also right now we're lucky a lot of stuff's back on the on-demand systems in a lot of markets around the country. So that's been helping us too.
Well, we have a 4-year-old too who doesn't really know the movers because you guys were off the air and they stopped doing the reruns by the time he was old enough to understand. But thank you, DirecTV. You gave us 6 episodes, and we've played them 72 times already.
Yeah, the same 6, right? And everyone knows these 6 episodes.
That's right. That's right. So DirecTV, if you're listening or can get this to anybody, please, I'll take a 7th. That's a good start.
It's not too much to ask.
Well, you know how kids are. Once they get into something, they like it. Like, we watched Frozen 49 times when it came out. So.
Oh, God. I got 5 kids, and my oldest is 17. My youngest is 8. I kind of it's funny, for years, for more than a decade, I would happily sit down and watch, Toy Story 1, 2, 3. I'd watch, something happened to me in the last, year or two, I'm, done. I don't watch this stuff anymore. So, I'm desperately looking, right now, there's a show at the TV that make a show called Flash, superhero show, that, my youngest is 8, and he can watch it, and so, we all watch that. I'm anything than me rewatching, Ice Age or something. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm not to that point yet, but I can see, especially with 5 kids. God bless you, man.
Yeah. A lot of that.
Well, and now that Disney's doing Marvel and Star Wars, they're kind of bringing that into, which is a little more interesting for me and the older kids too.
Yeah, not to mention Super Movers.
We're almost there. I promise.
Sorry.
That's all right. So my last tour question for you guys. Did we ever answer what happened with Disney?
Oh, well, I just kind of diplomatically, it really was, there was nothing dramatic. I think in a lot of ways, 75 episodes is a full run, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it would have to be extraordinary circumstances to go further. If you think about Hannah Montana and all those types of things, something like that was just a tween phenomenon. They ended up going past the 75, but if you'll notice, they actually changed the show. It was a slightly different show, or Sweet Life with Zach and Cody, same thing. And part of that is the residuals and everything like that. It gets more expensive for Disney if they go over 100 episodes of one show. So they tend not to go over past 100 episodes of any show. You'll find the show will be reimagined or something, and then because there's just some paperwork reasons why that's better.
So there you go, fans. It wasn't that Disney didn't like the movers. They loved the movers. They did awesome work. And 75 episodes is a lot in TV land.
Yeah, our plate was full. Yeah, we made a full run, and hopefully the legacy of that will last a long time, and then also lead to our other good content.
Cool. All right, so the last movers question. So your new project, I downloaded the new Super Movers song. We've listened to it a bunch of times in the car and all around. And this is leading up to this new TV project you guys are working on. How's that going?
It's going great. We're partnered with an awesome company named 9 Story Media Group out of Toronto. But they're really an international company that creates a lot of the content that you see on a lot of the networks. They are responsible for Wild Kratts, among other things. They've created a beautiful 2-minute trailer for the show that we're actually about to release to share with everybody. It was a Pixar veteran named Jay Booz who directed the trailer. It looks incredible, and now they're using that as a tool to help pitch us to a variety of networks. And essentially, we are just supporting them and crossing our fingers that we get someone signed on to so that we can go past production and into past development and into production. That's where we are.
So, and how can we in fan land help you guys?
Biggest way to help right now, very most specific thing to do is just go download Super Movers from iTunes or Amazon. Just the second we released it last Friday, it was the #1 song on iTunes Kids in U.S. and Canada and a lot of other places, and so that's good. The longer we can show that demand, the more leverage we have, and then also just really just do everything to support movers. If we come near you, buy a ticket to the show. Download our music and just just keep our mover momentum going. We were really proud of our product. We are after all these years doing this. We started as dads entertaining our kids. We've applied that same kind of sensibility now to this same project for more than a decade, and we think we're the only live rock experience that's equally engaging to a 3-year-old and a 33-year-old or a 63-year-old. I mean, we pride ourselves in being content that will provide a rare chance for all the generations to have fun together, to party together, basically. And so instead of a dad sitting there texting or checking scores while the kid is dancing, everyone's enjoying this moment together. And that's really been our motivation from the beginning, is to bring people together like that.
I remember sitting at we've been to 2 of your live shows, and we were sitting in a live show in Durham. It was actually your last stop on a tour that you did with Wendy Callio, who played Nina, and I think Choo Soul was with you guys.
I like that night.
Well, and you guys were you were done, and you had all kinds of energy, and you were just having a blast, especially the last song. You guys just had a blast. And my wife and I were looking around. We did this. We saw you in Wilmington, Delaware once too. And we were looking around, and there's this guy, and he's sitting over there. And you guys are rocking out some tune, and we're all dancing. And this guy's over there, and he looks bored out of his mind. I'm like, what? How can you just sit there and not move? And so you get those people every once in a while, but you're right, man. It is engaging across multiple generations.
Like, see someone who's like a pill in the middle of a state, like we'll all talk about it. I was like, can you believe that guy? You know,
right.
Pretty rare. It's pretty rare. And we've gotten better at, just our audience management skills just improve every time we go out. And so like, we can, because sometimes someone needs a little extra like invitation or a little incentive to buy in, and we're pretty good at getting everyone to get in. And once people are in, then it's just fun. We do a thing now where at the end of the show, parents can win a free CD, DVD, but they have to get up and dance like a robot. It's amazing what some free stuff will inspire people to do.
Free stuff, and then Mom, I want that CD. Do it.
Well, that's it. Because you say, hey, we've got a free CD DVD that you can give to your child, but first you have to dance like a robot, and it's like, well, I don't want to be the guy not helping to get a CD for my child.
Horrible parents you are, not dancing like a robot.
How could you?
That's awesome. All right, so you going to do a little Super Movers for us?
Yeah, you want to hear?
There's a little clip. You guys, hey, you like this, you can go on iTunes and buy it, and also you can gift it. It's pretty easy to do. Off you go.
Yeah, it's a sneak preview, but you have to actually download it. 4 friends in a rock and roll band. A lot of fun playing music for their fans. One day they played a power chord. Next thing they started to transform. Oh, they're not the same anymore. Super movers, yeah, super movers. Oh, super movers. And everybody has the power to become a superhero.
All right, so you want that high quality digital copy, not the Skype recorded version.
Pretty much there's the premise of the show. We're a rock band. We play a power chord, and it gives us superpowers. And then our nemesis Talon is always trying to figure out the power chord so we can get our powers. But really, what we end up doing is bumbling around and helping kids solve problems using their own inner superpowers.
Is there an idea warehouse or something like it, or
no idea warehouse?
No. Okay.
There's a cool new vehicle.
Oh, okay. Well, let's leave it at that. Little teaser for everybody. Look for the trailer for Super Movers coming out very soon. Obviously, you can probably go to Imagination Movers Facebook page, Twitter account, follow Emily because she knows everything, or of course here on our FlashKaboom Facebook page, we'll post stuff about the Movers going forward as they release new stuff. So good stuff, man. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna edit this a bunch because it's really long. But can we do a little bit of Rich Collins stuff?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So not only is we have Mover Rich with us, but there's also a guy named Rich Collins. Yes, he has a full name, and he's a dad, and he has a wife and a normal life and a house and everything. I'm looking at it. I swear he's got books and stuff.
He looks really similar to the other guy.
Yeah, that's right. Mover Rich is a character, but I guess he's part of Rich Collins, too. And I've even seen people in your house. There's a woman that walks by every once in a while in the background.
Oh, it's Becky walking around in the background?
Somebody went by a couple times.
That's funny.
That's hello. I poked around your site, and when we first started talking about this interview, it was maybe 4 or 5 months ago,
yeah.
And asked how could I help, and you had just released something called the Golden Pick. Did I get that right?
Golden Pick.
The Golden Pick. And so this is your own solo projects. Are you doing these on your own, independent, or how's this come about for you?
I have the same gear and studio we use to do all the mover stuff. I've got a studio here in the house, and all I do basically all day long is I have this guitar or my other one with me almost all the time, including when I drive and fly and for all the movers shows. So I just write songs all the time and record them as often as I can. The most recent album I released is called Golden Pick, and it's essentially just lots of the melodies and ideas and things that needed a place to go that wasn't mover related. And so I can just give you a quick example of the song Golden Pick. By the way, if anyone's listening, please go to YouTube and watch the video. I think I'm just about to, or maybe I just have already crossed over 10,000 views, which is nice.
Looks like it was shot at, was it Lake Pontchartrain? Was it shot at the lake, or?
It was actually all Mississippi River.
Okay.
Various spots on the Mississippi River, but not far. But I'll give you a little taste. I got a ukulele with a golden pick, gonna write a pretty little song with it. Tell my little baby that I love her so. I got a guitar with a silver string, sound like heaven when you hear it ring. Open up the gates and let them sing for you, all for you, baby. Na 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 na. Tell my little baby that I love her so. Whoa. Na 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 na. Tell my little baby that I love her so. Whoa. Yeah. So that's a taste of the song Golden Pick.
There's a lot of I listened to a bunch of the tracks on there, and you sort of have like an island Mediterranean flair to your music. Where does a kid that comes from DC get that from?
So not intentional. And as soon as I started going out there a few months ago, everyone's telling me, I'm like, oh, duh. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that song obviously is kind of Paul Simon inspired, and so maybe that being the first song on the album, and it's got the cool like little piano thing, that probably puts you in that frame of mind. So the other stuff I was just kind of thinking is like my typical pop hooky thing, but I guess just some of the way I arranged it kind of came across that way. But I mean, I will say this, that people that I've been listening to a lot over the last few years are Jack Johnson and Paul Simon, and both, Jack Johnson is pop songs, but he's from Hawaii, and so there's some certainly island flavor in it. And then Paul Simon obviously had his whole journey around the world musically. So those, and also Michael Franti I like a lot. I guess those influences all kind of bled through. What I was really trying to make is just the most hooky album I could possibly make, and something that would work great when you're throwing a party and hanging out with friends and cooking food and drinking wine and all that stuff.
That's the one thing I noticed. It was very easy to listen to. It was just easy to listen to. I didn't have to try hard to understand what was going on, and musically it was very good. Is there one track called Morning? It's a short track. Yeah. It was a short track. There was some intricate playing in there. I really enjoyed the guitar work in that one.
When I wake up in the morning, when I see the sun shining, well, you make it so easy, and I see you smiling, all right. Everything is all right. Okay. Nothing in my way. You cross another river, you climb another mountain. Oh, you should consider all your problems. Can't live without them.
Yeah, nice, man.
That's Morning. Yeah, it's funny. That was like a little shorty, and sort of forgot about it. I'm arranging this stuff to play live with some people right now, and I was like, oh yeah, don't forget about that one. It's kind of a fun one, and you can kind of rock it out. So that one's got possibilities, yeah. I've been doing a lot. One thing that's happened for me in the last, you talk about like always growing and changing, and so Golden Pick is, I released it about 10 months ago, and like the worst promoter and businessman ever, I immediately just forgot all about it and have been writing a whole new album, and that's where I spent all my time and energy instead of promoting that one.
Yeah.
But I have a whole new batch, and I'm actually working on stuff today. But I've learned to finger pick more than I ever had before, and so this that's where my head is right now. I was just more of a strummer, and then so now it's tonight the stars are shining. We wash up on a secret island. You look at the silver lining, yeah. Your eyes will light up brightly, and you smile just like Keira Knightley. And I know that I might be, yeah, you might be, and I know I might be falling, and I can't get up. We only got a little, but that's enough. And what did I get myself into? Oh, oh, oh. And I never loved someone the way that I love. Anyway, so
was that a Keira Knightley reference in this song?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's outstanding.
But anyway, so yeah, but by the way, I don't think I'm doing myself any favors if I'm trying to distance myself from Caribbean sounding, because I think almost half of these things kind of. And I've got an awesome friend here in New Orleans that I made this past year who's literally a veteran of the Paul Simon and David Byrne touring bands. Wow. Who's been helping me some coaching, consulting, and some percussion, and so yeah, the whole thing's going quite Caribbean.
If steel drums show up in the next album, I know you've completely given in.
Yeah. Actually, we movers have a great steel drum player friend, a woman that here in New Orleans who's probably the one and only female steel drummer in New Orleans. So yeah, you never know.
You never know. See. Oh, awesome, man. Hey, what I loved, one of the cool things about richcollinsmusic.com, the website you can go to, you can listen to music and get downloads. But there's also, by the way, I am a proud owner, it's on its way, of the Golden Pick hoodie.
Nice!
Yes! I'm so excited. I'm a hoodie guy. I've got my College of Berkeley School of Music hoodie. I'm a hoodie guy, so I was happy to see a hoodie available.
It's cool looking. Yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. And so you can go to the website. You can find ways to download music, and you're on the band. Was it Band app, right? Did I get that right?
Band. Oh, Bandcamp. Wait, what is it now?
What's the? You're streaming your music on Band.
Oh, Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. That's right.
But also, what you call? What's the other one? There's some stuff. Actually, the whole thing is on Bandcamp. Rich Collins Bandcamp. You can listen to it all for free there. But you can also some of it's on the other one, SoundCloud. I was good for a minute. I did all this stuff and posted it, and then I just started writing songs again. But so you can hear it on Rich Collins Bandcamp, which I link off of the website. But the main thing, people go to YouTube and search Golden Pick, and also House All Day is the other music video that's climbing. And then I have the video is up, just a lyric video, but it's cool for Carrying the Weight. So there's 3 videos up there that, yeah, I mean, I'd love it if people. There's a song called Road from my first album that, it's funny, it's like a deep cut on the first album, but people really like that song. And so there's a Road, I didn't put it up, a fan put it up, but there's a Road video that's got a bunch of views too. So yeah, anyway, the more people watch that, the better.
So another way to just support Rich and what he's doing is YouTube. Go to the website, richcollinsmusic.com. I have a hoodie. You should have a hoodie. There's also T-shirts. But the coolest thing on there, man, is that you can buy a Skype concert from Rich Collins for $100. Rich will Skype with you from probably this very space and play a concert. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I've Skyped for people all across the world: Austria, Canada, Sweden, Kentucky.
Well, who did you play for in Kentucky, I wonder?
Yeah, right. But the fun thing is, like I've got one tomorrow. And what a lot of my biggest, supporters have done is they will, and I didn't expect this. It makes it so much more fun. They do it. We do it as a group. So like 3 or 4 people will, somebody will order the thing and schedule it. Like I see on my little post-it, I got one 11 o'clock Friday, but then like it'll be 4 people. So, and they'll take requests or whatever. And the best thing for me is that I have this one awesome friend and fan in Austria, and she keeps suggesting songs for me, like other people's songs that I should learn. Yeah. And she's got a great ear for stuff that works for me, and so she keeps like blowing my mind with awesome stuff that I wouldn't have known about. And then so like I've because of Anka, I've added several things to my own set. It's a very creative, fun thing to do. But like, do you know the band 21 Pilots?
Yeah.
I didn't know the song, but she introduced me House of Gold. She asked me, son, when I grow old, will you buy me a house of gold? When your father turns to stone, you take care of me. And I will make you queen of everything you see. Put you on the map, I'll carry you up the seas. Anyway, so I never heard this song before. She said, hey, why don't you play this for us? And I was like, I love this song, So it's a fun, creative, and collaborative thing to do.
Can you find Rich Collins on iTunes? Are we there yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can make a Pandora channel. You can make a Spotify channel, iTunes, yeah. And it's funny, like I created the course just for my own amusement. When the new album came out, I created a Rich Collins Golden Pick channel. And then if any song I didn't like, I would thumb it down. And any song I did. My version of the channel is awesome. It's got all these great other artists on there. But, the more people do that, the better, obviously. So, I will say this. Through basically when people stream it on Spotify or Pandora, it doesn't cost them anything. I do get paid, so it's great. And also Sirius XM Radio pays well, so they're playing the song Golden Pick on one of the channels there, and it's nice. I mean, you get a little extra something, and especially for the time and sweat equity I put into these songs, it is great to have a little bit of a little bit of something come back to you from the universe. So,
and what that does, guys, out in podcast land, is when you buy a CD and download it, that's great. The artist gets paid once, but with these streaming services, that every time it gets played, the artist will make a few bucks, so or a few cents, depending on.
A few fractions of a cent, but yeah, what happens is you get like every few months, whether it's from CD Baby or Sound Exchange or ASCAP, they're like, hey, here's a few bucks, go buy yourself a pizza or two, It's like,
that's right.
Great, I wouldn't have had that money if you hadn't listened to the song, so thank you for the piece of pizza.
Rich has 5 children to feed, please. Please go listen to Pandora.
That's a lot of pizza.
That's right. This has been great, man. So for you guys that are listening to this, Rich spent an hour with me, and I can't be more grateful than that. You're not going to get the whole hour because this is a lot of stuff that we're going to edit out because no one wants to listen for an hour. But very gracious with your time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's really fun. You did a good job.